We've all seen there was an issue with Genge artist Nonini that he brought up about being lowballed in an offer to perform in next year's Madaraka Festival here in the US. Now, Nonini posted the offer in public for the whole world to see and detailed his discontent at the low offer he got and said it was disrespectful. Now, as an expert, as a career expert yourself, as someone who works also with a lot of people who are in gigs and in different kinds of entrepreneurship, how would you advise a client who's gotten a low ball offer that is well below documented industry standards? Or in other words, if you are Nonini's, if Nonini was your client, how would you have handled this situation for him? Because I'm sure, you saw, what happened and what was published and how different media houses picked it up. How would you have handled this situation where there was a clear, lowball offer?
Yeah. This is what happened to Nonini is very common. It's very classic. And the first thing I would say is don't take it personally. Because when you take things personally, you completely remove your ability to effectively negotiate for what you want and to effectively handle conflict. Because there's two things there that have intersected: conflict management and negotiation. So if he was my client, or let's not even talk about him, right? If anybody is my client, right? You know what gets you angry? When you're stuck on your position. My position is that I deserve to make $5,000 a month. So when you offer me $1,000, I'm insulted, right? That's my position. Now, the other person is saying their position is, my position is all I'm able to offer you is all that I think I should offer you based on my financials is $1,000. So if both of you are stuck in your positions, you never actually cross over the bridge and actually solve that problem. So instead, I would say focus on interests. The power is in focusing on interests. I'll give you an example. Instead of getting upset that you only offered me $1,000 a month when I deserve $5,000 a month, I would instead ask myself, what are my interests? What are their interests? Like in this case, I'll make some random examples. In that case, the promoter's interest is to get a lot of people to come to their events and make a shit ton of revenue and get publicity from it. I'm making it up. So the artist would go, okay, that's their interest. Then they would sit back and say, what is my interest as the artist? My interest as the artist is to perform to as many people as possible, make a shit ton of money, and get publicity. So when you take those two things, when you shift away from positions and you look at interest, then you start to see, where do our interests merge? And then now, instead of just being upset and stuck and frustrated, I can curate or create a plan, a negotiation that ties directly to that other person's interest, taps into that magic of what they want, their interests, and then bases my negotiation on how, here's the power. If you pay me more money, you will achieve your interests.
Wow. But here's the deal, Tabitha. When and anger is a human emotion.
Haro, atiatia. Kweli nilikuja na meli.
Anger is a human emotion. Anger is a human emotion.
So is hunger.
My issue here is when let's say like I'm expecting, my expectation, my value is maybe $200,000 a year. I'm negotiating for a job. That's my expectation. But then I get an offer
50,000
or 50,000, which is very far, now this offer has been anchored at, that's the starting point. And I think the anger sometimes comes to someone feels, even if I was to negotiate this to $100,000, it's still very far off from where I wanted to be.
But also add the aspect of requesting or wanting the 200, let's say, is not. It's also based on experience. because you have been in, let's say, you've been in IT.
Yes.
And you have been, let's say, like Omosh or Mika, you've been in DevOps for a certain period of time. So there's always that, like, I've done DevOps for a minute. You can't be offering me 60.
Yeah.
Right? I think there's also that aspect. Not only just, you want 200,000, but even with the 200,000, I have this much experience. I'm pulling this much. I'm bringing this amount of years experience in DevOps.
Yeah.
I think there's also that, because there's also that one of, you could see that tussle in terms of, how long, even to the point where there was the name legend was dropped, Njeri.
Yeah, Njeri. So here we're talking of a situation where, like it's not like it's a low offer. It's a lowball offer, which is on this other extreme end, where you feel like it might just be better to burn the house.
And considering the experience
absolutely.
and the longevity of the artist in the music industry.
Yes, Njeri.
I was going to say exactly that, right? We always have choices whenever we have conflict. We can handle conflict badly. Some examples of what you just said, Ali, right now. You can, whenever you're in a situation you're unhappy with, you can burn the whole thing down. You can create scenarios, and all those things that you do make it even more difficult, not only for you to negotiate your existing situation, but also for you to negotiate future situations. And don't get me wrong, I get emotion. I can understand frustration. I can understand these feelings of anger, feelings like you have devalued me. Like who can you see me? Umeni offer me, Njeri, you've come to me and told me you want to pay me $100 an hour, right? Like, do I look
kwani $100 ni nyingi?
$100
I was gonna offer you 50.
No, right? So you come to me and you offer me 50, and I can take it personally and be like, kwenda huko, do not even but guess what the consequences of that are? Number one, I damage relationships, but I actually not only harm the opportunity to do business with you in the future, but also others that you will tell about our relationship. So at the end of the day, my feeling is this: don't let offers diminish you, because an external offer cannot diminish who you are. Instead, go there, negotiate, and if it doesn't work, walk away with your dignity, but don't damage the relationship in the end. Just be like, it didn't work, and you move on. That's all I would say.
Oh, wow. Asante sana, Njeri. But now before we let you go, let's get an expert opinion in the industry from DJ Omosh Fire on this scenario. I know he thought he was going to escape. He was going to run away. But yes, you have to talk to us, because, like, I mean, and here's the thing. This is one conversation where we're only getting information. We only have information from one side, like, in all honesty. We don't have it from both sides. But we just want to hear maybe Omosh's perspective.
We do.
Yeah.
Kufa makanga, kufa abiria, kufa tanboy.
Yeah, because this is something that's gonna affect, like, the industry here in the diaspora. The Kenyan music industry was on that stage where it had lagged. It's kind of taking off after the pandemic. And then now this happens. So it's something that's an industry issue, and we feel like it would be unfair for us not to touch on it. So DJ Omosh Fire.
What? Ali, talk about throwing somebody under the bus. Okay, now
a Kamba bus.
I don't even think this is a Kamba. He is what's that? Mbokenya. Yes. So okay, Nonini put it out there. He actually put out his contract, or should I say offer letter, which had an amount in it, and he never accepted.
Yeah.
And so his thing about it was, I guess I'd say we have insider information or other things that came out subsequently. But what he was angry about, or seemingly angry about, was that there was malice and or disrespect towards the amount that was offered to him for this tour, for the 10 performances.
So pause there, Omosh. Malice and disrespect. For those maybe who don't understand, like, the rates in this industry, just give context, because this is public information. He was being paid. It was a series of 10 shows,
so it was
500 a night.
Yes.
So total of $5,000.
A total of $5,000. $500 per appearance in 10 different locations.
Yeah.
There was going to be accommodation that was going to be taken care of by the promoter, as well as
Transport.
flights, and assuming Mulo Pia was going to be there.
And logistics to the venue.
Yes. So you'd get the transportation, you'd get the food, and you'd have a place to lay your head. So, somebody looking on from the outside might say, hey, 500 ngwanyas is not too bad. I'll take it. And it's for 10 shows over a period of, I think,
2.5 weeks. It was around. It was less than 3 weeks. Yeah.
Yes. So it's less than a month. Let's put it that way.
It was
right?
actually less than 3 weeks, I think. Yeah.
And now he found that to be disrespectful, and he put it out there and said that he would decline, and he put it out publicly with a letter and said, hey, I decline this. At this point I declined because to me my worth is more than what was offered here.
But now explain to us, Omosh, what's a fair value? Because here, I mean, it's clear, according to what most people have said, that 500 is a very lowball offer. So what's a fair value of an artist the stature of Nonini, per night for a series of that?
Now, you see, Ali, that's a very unfair question. So there's what you would get paid based upon where you are. And then there's also what I, as the person who's making the offer, is looking to pay you based upon my ROI.
Okay. What you think my ROI will be.
Bottom line of it, as the person who is the promoter or the person making the offer, I look at my ROI.
Okay.
Right? And that is where I base how I'm going to pay certain folks. Whether you're an A-lister, B-lister, C-lister, it doesn't matter. The bottom line of it for me is
ratings.
what am I expecting to get back?
Okay.
At the end of the day.